Welcome to Crypto Tutors. We are humanizing cryptocurrency and blockchain and are bringing the best trailblazers and success stories like Isaiah Jackson, Tanya Evans, Ian Bellina, Cleve Messidor, and Tinashe Nitaganga on the Crypto Couch. Click subscribe and the bell to be the first to watch the latest interviews every single week.
This episode is sponsored by Cash App.
Hey,
It's a way.
Making money in my sleep? Making money in my sleep.
Boom, ladies and gentlemen. I absolutely love every single time we kick off the Crypto Couch, we get to play the Crypto Tutors song. This is a Crypto Tutors produced show. If you haven't subscribed, you better subscribe because we are bringing you the fire. And just to give a little context, Crypto Tutors is simplifying cryptocurrency through e-learning, one-on-one tutoring, and entertainment. At least we believe we're entertaining. We have original rap music that we produce. We produce the Crypto Couch. I hope you are all ignited to meet Angela Agnew, who is originally from Alabama. She's another phenomenon in the crypto space. She's someone just like you and I who's been able to harness the power of cryptocurrency to generate wealth. We're going to unpack all of that today. Welcome, Angela.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Happy to be here.
Not as happy as we are to have you, Angela. Hello. So, Angela, just to provide a little bit of background as to how you were introduced to the Crypto Tutors community. Initially, we crossed paths in the blockchain and cryptocurrency Facebook group. There's a lot of great insights being shared within that group. Yes. And we heard that you had an amazing story that needed to be told. So again, we cannot wait to hear all of the nuts and bolts of how you've been able to generate wealth with your crypto knowledge. Before we get into that though, Angela, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Like, what's your story? Like, let's get into it.
I'll be happy to introduce myself. Again, my name is Angela Agnew. I'm 43 years old. My birthday is in 19 days. I'll be celebrating in Bora Bora thanks to cryptocurrency.
Oh, hey, not you going to Tahiti. Okay.
So I'm excited about that. I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. As you stated, I've been in Charlotte, North Carolina for about 3 years now. And I'm a knowledge analyst with Allied Ways. Pretty much every blue dumpster you see with the red star, I'm responsible for getting that picked up for you and the contract, negotiated, things of that nature. And I also do public speaking. I do spoken word as well. And I do a lot of activism. I've opened up for mayors, for senators. I take on a lot of community service topics, things like domestic violence, any type of, betterment, motivation to the children, bullying, anything that they really much, need a voice for, I'm there.
Angela, I love you already. Thank you for your activism. Thank you for your empowerment, your motivation. And how did you get into crypto? Like, let's start there.
It was completely by coincidence. I happened to be on, Facebook, and it was an individual who's a lyricist and then an R&B artist who I saw they were in a car and they were being so enthusiastic, and they were talking, his name was Vernon Reed. And I was like, let me click on their live and see what they're talking about. So I went on there and he was, with a calculator, said, I'm telling you, y'all need to get in on this. It's legit. It's real. I know a lot of people don't believe it, but, I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I really remembered that crypto was brought to me when Bitcoin was $300. And I did not, because of my doubt and never hearing about it before and not wanting to take a risk, I didn't, get in on it. So I was like, well, Angie, just, take a look at the platform piece, explaining, check, see what you think about it. And, and so I still kind of inched toward it. I really didn't make big moves. But then he brought Tinashe on and he said, oh, here's the GOAT. Here's the one who tells us everything. And I listened to him and he was giving such specifics me being the OCD individual that I am, wanting, to have specific
and
information.
have that data and analytics background, right? Like
exactly.
how
I
data
needed
can
to
be.
see it in front of me. So he presented it even better. And that's when I joined the group. And I was like, hey, do not miss out like you did with Bitcoin because you were scared to invest $300. Yeah. And so I was like, hey, jump in, let's get it, not crazily, but, like a $2,000 investment. So that's what I did.
And when was that?
That was last year, July 2020.
Oh, wow. This is super exciting because Angela, you're relatively new to the space.
Very much so.
A lot of folks who watch this show are novice, they're either, just getting into just getting into crypto, or they're considering getting into crypto. And, one of the conversations that we often have with folks is it too late? Did I miss the boat? And so I love hearing stories like yours where you just got, introduced. And to be honest with you, Angela, me too. I started my crypto journey in July of 2020. And so, to be having these conversations with folks like us is hopefully super inspiring to the Crypto Tutors community, because we want, to empower you to transform knowledge into wealth. And a lot of that has to do with overcoming your fear. We call it fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And you have, stories like Angela's to refer to that show you, yes, there might be some concern, but the truth is that this is in fact legit. And there's a lot of opportunity in this space.
It was very interesting because the one thing that was great about Tinashe's group is that he gave step-by-step guides, video tutorials. He answered questions all day. He told us which platforms to use. He even told us which ones not to use, which ones were a bit more difficult, which ones were starter, platforms. Like for me, the Voyager platform was pretty black and white. So it was something that I wanted to start with, for coins like VGX and what did I get? STMX, Storm Coin.
These coins are also like what, less than a penny?
Yeah, when I purchased VGX, it was actually 0.04 cent. It was 0.04 cent when I purchased it. And about 5 months later, it went up to $7.70.
Okay, let's pause right there. For someone who is like data analytics, guru like yourself, what's the multiple on that?
Let me tell you.
Please.
I invested $400 to purchase that amount of VGX. And within an hour, when it escalated to $7.70, I made $27,000 in an hour.
Let's pause right there because I need to process that, okay? And I don't know if anyone else who's watching this heard what she just said, because I'm gonna feel like you need to like scroll back so that you can hear it multiple times, because I know I'm gonna have to run it back myself. Okay, so you bought a coin that was a fraction of a penny that ended up running up to
$7.70
and 70 cents in an hour?
In 1 hour.
In one hour.
Yes, and I was so excited when it doubled. I was like, oh, $800. And, like I said, this was all within an hour. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh, wow, 1,200. Then it went up to 5,000, 7,000, 12,000. And I was just looking at it, my eyes are I just was unbelievable. And I just was like, oh my goodness, $27,000 in 1 hour. And that's the exact post that I put on my Facebook. And once I put that post up, 193 individuals wanted the information, wanted to be added to the group, wanted, what do I do? How do I do it? Everything.
Okay. And so did you cash out at that point?
No.
Okay.
No.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Diamond hands. What's good? Diamond hands. You holding on. Okay. I see.
Yeah. Because Tanashi, he told me, he said what his price prediction was. He felt that it'll go up to like $12. So I was like, okay, that's great. And that's wonderful. And I actually bought more. I bought more because when it went up to $2 and he had told me that, he felt it was going to grow again, I put another $1,000 in there at $2. So when I put the other $1,000 in at $2, by the time it got up to 770, I had already invested more money. So it ended up being like $80,000 in a day.
I'm just gonna have to pause on that. Can we just like have a moment? That is the most awesome story I think I've ever heard. We had Andy Chavez on the crypto couch, and he was talking to us about how he took $50 and flipped it to 40,000+. But I gotta tell you, and not that I'm trying to compare, but let's compare your story in terms of how you flipped that is just the emoji that's like,
oh yeah, I just was like
80 grand in a day. What?
Yeah, it proved to me when it hit 12,000. I said, Angie, you have more money. I said, you have more money. Don't let that money just sit there. Put another 1,000 in there. And I'm glad that I did, because I was just going to sit back and be like, okay, let me watch. But like I said, I invested more instead of saying, okay, let me cash out. I invested more.
And I think that that's also too a very sophisticated strategy, right? Because I think that many people, especially folks that are just kind of being introduced to crypto and investment at large, the reaction when you see that type of, exponential return is to cash out immediately. And for you to have said, actually, I'm going to double down, like I'm going to invest more. And so you could have at 27,000 cashed out, and that would have been, triple X return, and everyone would have tipped their hat onto you. One of, quite honestly, the best investments that you could, possibly make. Like that's stuff that, traders' dreams are made of. But you had a great resource in Tinashe. You had a very sound approach in that you increased your investment. And as a result, you took what could have been 27 and you brought it to
80,000.
Did you cash out at that point?
Now, what I did at that point, I took 10,000 out of it, and I invested into other alternative coins. So I didn't do anything with it. I just invested that 10,000 into other alternative coins.
Which is also too a, indicative of what it means to be a wise investor. And, Angela, we're not advisors. We're not financial advisors. This isn't about financial advice. This is about education. And so I really want to reinforce how critical it is to do your due diligence, to be having the right conversations with the right people who can help you make, wise decisions, how you deploy
all the difference.
Yeah. And so, you also have to have a level of, I think, emotional intelligence to not, again, make any, premature moves and sell. So,
and I can say that in the aspect, and what I try to think about with that is individuality, because everybody has different intents on what they want to do with their gains. Because I had people who say, I just want to pay off all my debt. I have people who say, I just want to buy a car. And now me, I want generational wealth.
Yes. Oh, wait. Can we have a moment on that? Because we need to make sure that our community, the folks that are watching this, if you're about that transgenerational life, let me see it in the comments. Let me make sure that you are subscribing to the Crypto Tutors YouTube channel, where we are teaching you not only how to transform knowledge into wealth, but we're having conversations with people like Angela that are about that transgenerational life, that transgenerational wealth living. We're not trying to impact ourselves and our families, but like our communities for generations to come.
Yeah. And so that's why I try not to impede my thoughts on anybody else. I do recommend that everybody, hold or, try to see the most you can get from it. But I understand that we all have different paths that we're trying to go down, as far as what conclusion you want to come to with your investments, with, how long you hold it, with your gain.
So correct. I just want to acknowledge you and say thank you for, sharing that story with us, because that's really a fundamental aspect of what it means to be us making sound investment decisions.
Indeed. And one thing that I always emphasize, that it's very important to invest what you could possibly lose. And that's so important, for people's peace and for your mindset when it comes to cryptocurrency, because like with anything, there will be gains, there will be loss, there will be gains, triple gains, double losses. It's a very volatile, investment. But if you invest smartly with what you can afford, it's not that big of a stress or strain. So I just try to really encourage people to invest smartly and don't go above or beyond your means. And by all means, don't compare your investments to somebody else who is a full-time investor or somebody who's been doing it for 5 years. Invest what you can personally, stand to, gain or lose.
I love that, because I feel like that's such a critical aspect of being an investor. You don't want to invest what you cannot afford to lose. The stress associated with like being over leveraged. And actually, let's take a moment to talk about leverage, right? Like there are folks trading beyond what they actually have. And when, the market tanks, it's like catastrophic. Well, that's not, in our opinion, at Crypto Tutors, in the vein of making sure that we're educating folks wisely. You do not want to be over leveraged. You do not want to be investing on leverage, because God forbid, especially given the volatility in the crypto world, it could be devastating. So thank you for those words of wisdom.
Most definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about, your strategy when it comes to evaluating an altcoin, a sound investment. What does it look like for you? What are your considerations when determining this is a coin that I want to go the distance with?
I look for stability. I look for uniqueness. I look for a need for what they're offering. I look for, sound insight on their white pages, that they actually are telling me this is what we're doing. This is where we're putting it. This is how we're going to handle it. And I like when they advise like, hey, if this were to go wrong, this is what we have in place as well. So for me, I always look at the unique aspect of, rebranding, a better way to do it, and, things of that nature. So, and Tinashe gives you all the insight and say, okay, this is something to watch. Do your research, look into it, see if that's something that, you can look at as far as the long term, because that's majorly what he, advises on, the long-term goals of the coin. So that's pretty much what I look for. I look at his list and I go and read myself. I read as far as the comparative coins, like, are there other coins that do the exact same thing, or do the other coins have, the opportunity to do it better to where this one won't be as, volatile? So that's pretty much what I decide on and say, okay, what's the long-term gains for this particular coin?
In the vein of just the level of sophistication associated with how you are evaluating what you ultimately choose to invest in, it really gets me excited, because, one of the misconceptions in crypto is that women are not present, and don't get me wrong, the numbers are in comparison to men. There is a huge disparity. We want more women in the space, which is, one of the main reasons why we're so happy to host, folks like yourself on the Crypto Couch, Angela, to serve as motivation and inspiration. And Gemini came out. Gemini is one of the largest crypto exchanges for folks who are not familiar, but they came out with a report where they said that the crypto curious gender breakdown is, 53% women. So as far as crypto curiosity is concerned, more women than men are crypto curious. And hopefully, as a result of listening to what Angela has shared, that helps you women out there want to get involved, because as you can see, with the right strategy and the right coin, you can literally experience those triple digit returns that, in comparison to a savings account, I mean, how many of us have savings accounts? The money is sitting there. First of all, fiat is a depreciating asset. And I think it's important to note that when you look at, Bitcoin versus, for example, fiat, which is like a US dollar or a euro, you're talking about a inflationary asset versus a deflationary asset, Bitcoin being the deflationary asset versus the dollar, for instance, which is an inflationary asset. And, when we think about the stimulus package here in the United States, for example, that they've printed money, you're talking about over almost $2 trillion in dollars that were printed, you know? So it's like, going back to the savings account, you know, you're getting less than 1% interest. You have 20 something coins from what I understand. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, how are you kind of managing your portfolio, and you know, what are some of the maybe unconventional approaches, perhaps staking, that you're incorporating into your strategy, so that folks have a good understanding of the you know, breadth of options when it comes to crypto?
Being that I intend to have it for long-term purposes, like with FTM.
FTM is Phantom.
Yeah, Phantom. I have that where it's locked for a year because you get the most as far as return on that. And I know that I have no intentions on selling anything, you know, for that amount of time. And right now I'm accruing like 160 Phantom every week, because I have it locked for a year, the return rate that they give me for the amount that I have in there. And so that's pretty much free money every single week that I just claim and add to my staking.
Want to learn more? Visit cryptotutors.com.